What up, Triple H podcast? It is your boy Eric Freedom here. Today we have a very special guest, Joshua Al-Chamaa. We've been talking for a little bit. I'm excited. He is one of the world's, he's a world-class athlete. He's one of the UK's fittest men, and I think he held the title in
2021.
2021. He's a CrossFit Games champion, team champion, coach, husband, and dad. Today, we explore what it takes to pursue elite performance while living a grounded, intentional life. Enjoy. What's up, dude?
What's up, bro?
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had a lot of fun chatting already, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So we're in the den.
We are in the den, yeah.
We're in the den in Sand Canyon.
Yeah.
At an undisclosed location.
A private location.
At a private location. Dude, thanks. Yeah, it's beautiful here. I wish we'll do some B-roll shots. It's beautiful. You should see it. If you're watching on YouTube, this is a beautiful private facility on a very beautiful piece of land.
I take that as a compliment. So
yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah,
I'm very hard on it.
Yeah, dude, who are you and what is the season of your life about?
Wow, who am I? I still don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think we all are. Always through our stages of life. I feel like I'm constantly evolving, constantly changing. I often talk to people about my career, present and past, and they're like, wow, you've lived so many lives and you're 33 years old. And I guess that's just the way I like to evolve and grow as a human being. But this season of my life, I've taken a step back from competing. I'm on serious dad duty now. I've got a 19-month-old boy. I've got another son on the way. And I've gone back to school. So I'm studying to be an EMT. Again, I don't know where that could take me. Yeah. I have this higher goal of making it into fire, but I also like the idea of close protection and security. I like the idea of being a paramedic. There's many different avenues it can take me down. So it's kind of funny. I've been having this conversation with my wife and friends and stuff. And they're like, where do you want to go with it? And I'm like, well, sometimes you just got to open a door and see where it leads. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now.
This is going to be a fun timestamp, I think, for your life, as I think many podcasts are. You had the identity of like an athlete for, would you say, all your life?
I wouldn't say all my life. I would definitely say from the age of, say, 24 through to my identity crisis, which came post-2024, which was just recently.
Okay. I was like, a few months ago. Okay.
Yeah, a few months ago, I had a bit of an identity crisis. Obviously, we can talk about that, from the adjustment of athlete and
sure.
Feeling like an athlete but not doing athlete things and that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, my prior life was not a great one that you would have thought would have led me to the path or even be sitting in the position that we're in right now. And that's not like, this is not American Idol. I don't need a sob story or anything like that. Sure. But it's kind of just, my life was very much wrapped up in, I got out of high school. I was focused on making money. That was all I cared about. Sure. I had older brothers that were making money and I was like, I want to make money. So I tried to go to college. Can't make money in college, so I dropped out, started working, had some pretty good jobs. Once I started making some decent amount of money for my lifestyle that I had, fell in with the wrong, I wouldn't say the wrong crowds. I don't like to blame other people, as my choices, but drinking, recreational drugs, all of that kind of stuff. And then I had a moment at the age of 24 and I woke up and I was also a smoker and I was like, I'm never smoking again, and I don't want to touch any alcohol. And
what type of smoker were you? Like what level of smoking would you say you were?
Cigarettes and weed.
Pack a day?
Yeah, like 15 to 20 a day.
Oh, so you're chain smoking.
Yeah, I was smoking. I mean, okay, so my job prior, my most notable job prior to getting into fitness is I worked in fashion. So I had various roles in fashion, from sales to personal shopping to CRM coordinator for major brands. I worked for the LVMH group. I worked for Tom Ford. I was a tailoring specialist for Tom Ford. I was a private shopper for Burberry. So I've been around these.
I don't know why I could see that. Like just it's like you're wearing sports stuff right now, like workout stuff, but you have that like.
I like attention to detail, right?
Yeah,
and I kind of have that, but. So I was in that industry and I was very fortunate. I got to meet a lot of high net worth clients. I dressed celebrities and I was on the party scene and all of that kind of stuff. So, it's not indicative of living a healthy lifestyle per se. You could make it if you want to, but I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, I wouldn't say I've been an athlete all my life, but I've definitely been, from the moment I said I was going to be an athlete, like here's the thing. there's people throw around the term athlete and they say I'm an athlete, but they're not really an athlete. They have their jobs, they have their other focuses, and I think that's okay. You don't have to be an athlete to train and train hard. But I remember it to the day where I was like, I was 1 week into taking CrossFit class, and I was like, I'm going to make the games. And from that moment, I decided I was an athlete, and I did everything I could do to be an athlete.
Yeah. What year was that?
2016.
Okay, so you went from, you're like a traditional, we call it W-2s out here, salary man, like your traditional workplace.
Yep.
You have a regular, I mean, your job didn't sound like a 9 to 5 though. It sounded like
it was. I mean, it had some. It was more than a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
essentially,
it's a lifestyle
I was
job,
working
right?
a 9 to 5 plus extra, right? Yeah. But I mean, at that time, it was kind of funny. I was renting my own place, I had everything going on, and I remember I always turned to my parents back then, even at those ages, for advice. And I was like, I'm going to quit my job and go into fitness. And they're looking at me, knowing that and they always tried to help me on the straight and narrow, and my parents were the best, but they weren't going to force me to do anything. They knew I smoked and all this stuff. They kind of looked at me when I'm like, I'm going to go into fitness. They're like, you? Really?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow and I'm going to do it. And they're like, hold up, don't quit your job until you find something else. And I was like,
it's
great advice. my parents always gave me that advice, and my parents were always about this B plan, right? Have an A plan, have a B plan. I decided, nah, I'm going for that A plan, and I don't want a B plan, because if I have a B plan, then I have something to fall back on. If I have nothing to fall back on, I have no choice.
You gotta burn the ships, right?
So that's what I had to do.
Yeah. So that's at that point you're how old?
That was when I was like 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah.
I went through that's how I opened the gym when I was 25.
Yeah, 24, and that was when I was first able to grow a bit of facial hair. I remember that.
Here we go. Oh, me too. Dang, wild. Okay, so it sounds like you chased your brothers. You have how many older brothers?
I've got 5 brothers in total.
Oh,
4
wow.
older.
Wow.
3 of my older brothers that I've got one older brother, the oldest brother that I'm not really connected to. Family drama, everyone has it. And then I've got 3 other brothers that are older that I have connection, and one of them lives here in California. And then I've got a younger brother as well.
And you chased those brothers into like having a career and just trying to make money.
Yeah,
typical.
It was a problem, right? Because I watched them fly the nest and make money and have a career and have some great careers. They did some really cool things. I mean, I've got a brother in the music industry. I've got a brother who's like a headmaster of a school. There's all these different things that were going on. And I thought that I needed to be like that, versus looking back now, it's kind of funny, right? You get that advice when you're younger. No, stay in school and do this. And you're like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. What do you even know? And now I look back and I'm like, nah, they did know. And I kind of should have done it, because now, look, I'm 33 and I'm back in school. But I'm also going back into school with a life that I've lived with more understanding. I think had I been in school in my early 20s, I mean, I didn't even like school. I grew up and, I had moments of another thing that pushed me into fitness and gaining muscle mass and stuff. Like I was, I went through bullying in school, and I was like, I didn't even like being there. So now I'm 33 and I'm in school, and I remember signing up for this semester and telling my wife, I was like, I don't even know if I can do this, because I left school when I was like 17 years old. And she was like, yeah, but you're much smarter than you were at 17. And lo and behold, I'm holding a high percentage in school, and I barely even read. I read now because I have to read for school, but
Yeah, but you are studying something that matters for you, and you understand the stakes on the side, right?
Well, yeah, and also I have a family to provide for.
Yeah.
So it's not about me anymore. It's about me, right? We all have to take responsibility, and this idea of being like, oh, I'm doing it for this person. I'm doing it for my mom, or I'm doing it for my religion. And it's like, well, you kind of have to do it for yourself too. But I know the responsibility that I have. I
got a question for you. This is like a personal question from me to you, and I think a lot of people will resonate with this. I'm 38 this year in July. I'm 37 right now.
Yeah, you like to inform me that you were like 33 was so long ago.
So long ago.
But we do say we said before this, right? Like every age after 30 is like it's like dog years. We're like going in 7 years now at this point.
And I will say, like, I feel like COVID also feels like a decade ago.
Yep.
For me, at least. I don't know if it feels like it for you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a good time during COVID, right? So I feel like I aged 10 years easily through COVID. But I've always been in fitness. I 19 was a trainer, studied kinesiology, always been a movement guy, athletic trainer, was pre-PT for a little bit, decided I don't like the insurance game in the United States, didn't want to get into that. And somehow got into CrossFit, tried to compete in it, ended up opening up a gym when I was 25. The goal was to do it by 30, but I had an awesome wife like yourself
There you go.
that
That's amazing.
pushed me in the right direction, and just was a catalyst in getting me to do what I wasn't bold or strong enough to do myself. During those years, this is the 2010 through 2013 era of CrossFit, where it's like, you think you could have a day job and train for the games and do all this stuff. And I was trying to do that, eventually hurt myself. And then through that process was like hurt, trying to build the business side, started a family at 20, in my late 20s. So when I was 29, I became a parent.
Okay.
And you go through these stages of what you said about this isn't about me anymore. That really resonates. That really resonates as a parent, right? As a father. You wanna be a provider. You wanna teach your kids these values, right?
We get our lives back, and we get them back when they're teenagers. But right now, they are the priority.
Yeah.
The foundation that we build and the stones that we lay out for them creates the human that they will become. So.
Yeah, it's good. That's the stage that I'm in. So I felt like I was making these personal sacrifices, and I've gone through layers of moments of, dude, am I resentful? Am I resentful that this is where I'm at? Just like, this is real talk, right? It's like things that, you would never want to hear a parent say out loud, but I was like, I'm not sure if I'm being resentful. And I put this stage of my life on pause. I'm for the first time in 8 years training for something. So I'm doing an ultra endurance event called Everesting. I don't know if you've heard of it. Everesting 2929. It's a 36-hour endurance event where you climb a mountain and then you come back down and you do it 13 times.
Dang,
and you clear
that's dope.
Yeah, I hope I finish. 300 athletes, about 150 usually finish on average. I hope to be part of the 150, half the people that finish. Yeah, I plan to be.
It's all in there.
I plan to be, yes, all the psychology. And it's like, this is the first time I've done something physical like this where I don't feel selfish. So I guess in hearing, like, you've gone through a whole journey, you have a 1-year-old, and this time stamp in your life, I see you, I hear what's in your head and what I feel like is on your heart. What's that process like? Going from someone you find a fitness program that you like, you decide I'm going all in, and for years, I'm not like this, I can't do the math on how many years that was, doing what's required of you to get there, and then being here now. What's that journey like?
I mean, the journey itself was incredible. The early stages of mine and my wife's relationship, we lived some wonderful times, and we're still continuing to live wonderful times right now. But we traveled, we did so much. But the journey from like the adapting, which I feel like is the point that you're kind of getting at here, from being an athlete to kind of being in the position that I'm in now, it took a lot of. So I don't like to use the word sacrifice, because sacrifice to me is something that you don't want to do, but you're doing it. I do the things I want to do. Right? So if I'm gonna not go out because I want to be in the gym, and people call that a sacrifice, no, it's a choice. I'm choosing to do that. I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm only sacrificing something where I want to do the opposite. Okay? And you don't get to greatness by wanting to do the opposite. So you got to figure that part out. But I feel like the toughest part for me and the biggest change right now has been adapting from being this person that has trained, at least 4 to 7 hours a day for multiple years, and then now going into a phase where I'm like, man, with school and being a parent and having a business and all that stuff, I'm lucky if I get an hour in. And then this identity crisis of being like, you were an athlete, like, and I don't care what people think of me, whether I was a somebody, but in my mind, I was a somebody. And then I went through this phase where I was like, man, I'm not really anybody right now, because like all I'm doing is like, I'm in some books and I'm studying, but like, I don't have that. I don't get to walk out onto a competition floor. I don't get to entertain. I don't get to do any of that stuff. What am I? And then I was like, oh, hold up, dude. You've got the greatest job in the world. You're a dad. Like, that's the responsibility right now. So everything I do, I lead with that as my passion. And I've had to adjust with that. But I mean, look, it's been tough. Prior to starting school this semester, I went through a really rough patch where I just had no idea what I wanted to do. I was kind of like, I decided that I wanted to slow down competing after 2024, but I thought I was going out of 2024 with another win. So my goal was like back-to-back wins, slow it down, And that was the first time in many years where I had a plan and my plan didn't come to fruition. So then I went through this identity crisis where I was like, man, you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve, and you're better than that, and you can do more, but now you should be slowing down, and you're having another kid, and you want to go to school, and all of these thoughts started flooding in. And I just had to I had to check myself and start to realize, like, there was points where I was like coming into the gym and trying to train for like 3 hours and then not training for 4 days because I had to do something else. And it got to the point where I was like, I actually, I'm not gonna lie, I put training on the back burner. I said, cool, focus on school right now. All right, school's good. Like, and family, of course, but like that was my priority. I wanted to get my grades up and stuff like that. And then piece by piece started bringing things back in. So I almost like cleaned the slate, and then piece by piece started bringing stuff back. And now my training's adapted. I go on, a 2-hour hike with my son on my back versus with a ruck. Like, we get to do things together. So I don't know. I kind of floated around that question a little bit, but
that's good, man.
It's come with challenges, but again, I think the key point that I want to link back to on that, it's a challenge that I have chosen to do. It's not a sacrifice because it's my choice.
Yeah. Movements are our first pillar here at the Happy Healthy Human podcast. I have I have a guess on your answer for this, but what's your training philosophy now? What's it now that you've been, arguably, I'm gonna say it. I think CrossFitters are the fittest humans on earth. A lot of people disagree with that. I think it's the most well-rounded. Like, it's the best test. I don't think Hyrox comes close. I know they're trying to put that out there. I don't think it's close at all.
Yeah.
I think Hyrox is cool though.
People are picking that up. We've got a dog barking outside. That's why we're like, what's going on?
Yeah, it did mess with my mind a little bit. What's your training philosophy now that you've been at the top 1% peak fitness? You've been crowned a champion before. You've known what it takes to get there, and then you're in this life stage now. How's your philosophy of training evolved from back then to today?
Well, going back to what you said about like thinking that CrossFit is it's the ultimate like training methodology and it creates the elite athlete, I would agree. I think it does, but it also has some limitations. And I also think we sometimes, because we give, especially as CrossFitters, and I'm proud to say that CrossFit is my sport, but we put this title as the fittest on earth as a title, but we're not running ultra marathons.
Yeah.
We're not doing triathlons.
Yeah.
There's things we're not doing. Yes, we're bringing these modalities in terms of like cycling, but we're not doing it to the capacity that some of these other athletes do.
Yeah, not
so
close.
To me, my training methodology was always, if I am going to sit there and call myself the fittest on earth, I'm going to go out and do these things. So I did. I went out and I ran marathons, and I went out and I did an Olympic triathlon and qualified for USA Nationals. And I was like, it doesn't matter if it's in CrossFit or not. My training methodology was like, if I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try and hold this tight, or that's my goal, I need to be able to do everything. I think there's many forms of fitness. You talk about Hyrox then as well. I also think Hyrox is an incredible form of fitness, and it's a way of allowing the best fitness and the best training is the training that you do. And the training of CrossFit, you can be limited based on, and I know we like to say, well, we can scale or we can adjust, but if you have certain injuries and your arms can't go overhead and you can't do those snatches, there are things that we can't do. And sure, your client might come in and you say, well, you can't snatch, but we can put you in a squat position and get you doing squats and stuff. There's stuff like that. But there's not really a place for them to compete. So they get Hyrox now, and they can go and throw down in that, and I think that's incredible too.
Awesome, yeah.
But in terms of like my training ethos, my goal prior to sport was I was so fed up of being unhealthy, and I had this dream of later in life, like being able to inspire my family first and foremost. That was my primary. I was like, I want to be fit so that I can do all the things that my children want to do. Because what happens as we get older, we start to slow down. And I don't want to get to a point where I can't do things for my kids. That was number one and foremost in the beginning. And then I became an athlete.
Can I pause right there?
Go on.
So right there, what were the metrics of that?
Like, how do I measure that?
Like measurably for you in that season of your life, what did that look like? What were you? How was your? What were your training look like, and what would be required of you to be able to live that life prior to sport?
Well, it was funny because like even though I say that, like that was my intention, but I had no intention of having children then.
Yeah.
So therefore, I wasn't like, oh, I need to be able to run with a stroller or do all these things, right? Like I wasn't trying to think like that. But I was like, well, what can I do? And I was like, well, I want to be able to do everything. I want to be able to jump over a wall. I want to be able to lift up some weights. I want to be able to run down the street longer than a 400, which I couldn't do. Like I want to be able to do all of these things. You know, I was smoking, I was wheezing the minute I ran a 400. Like I couldn't do that stuff. And I was like, I want to be able to do all of these things. And that was the primary goal there and then. Obviously that elevated as I became an athlete. But then now we're going back to that stage again, right? Where I'm having to check myself and I'm like, remember that primary goal where you want to be able to do things with your kid? Well, now you can. So go out and do it.
Yeah.
And if that means that I'm not in the gym today because me and my son are out hiking, or I'm taking him to gymnastics, or we're doing something, that's cool. It's not a big deal. I'll make up the time as long as I am able to sustain that level of health. And I don't need 4 hours a day to sustain that level of health. You know, one can do it.
Yeah.
So
Do you think, from a logistics and metric standpoint, less than one can do it?
100%. It has to be a rounded less than one, though. It can't be a less than one and be like, I'm going to go into the gym and I'm going to ride a bike for 20 minutes every day for 5 days and think I'm going to have ultimate fitness. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. But if you couldn't, I mean, we know it. That is one of the beauties of CrossFit, right? I can give you a 12-minute Metcon. I can give you a 6-minute Metcon and have you on your back wheezing for air because it's just floored you, right? We could do that. Yeah. Now, do I think that's also going to give you the best level of fitness? No. We know we need strength training. We know we need rounded training. You need to run. You need to jump. You need to lift. You need to, in my opinion, if you can, you need to swim, right? You need to throw everything in. The goal should always be, what can I not do and how do I do it? Yeah. That's what I like to think of for me. Like even stuff outside of CrossFit. I play pickleball now. I couldn't play tennis to save my life.
Doubles or singles?
But I could throw it. I play doubles with my mother-in-law. Man, and she's incredible. She schools me, but you know, we play doubles together and we have a great time. But if it wasn't for CrossFit, this idea of doing many things, I wouldn't have gone out and tried pickleball. Yeah. And I listened to something recently where people spoke about, it was Noah Olsen actually, Noah spoke about purpose, and he did this clip where he was talking about if you don't try and fail, there's no way you're going to find your purpose because you're not trying. And I think I think for me that really is the beauty of CrossFit, because you try everything and you might fail at all of it, but then you try and get a little bit better. And then that then says, well, hey, if I can go into the gym and I can now run, which I never used to do, I can also snatch, I can clean and jerk, I can jump on a box. Well, I can go out on a court and play pickleball. I'm not embarrassed to put myself in these environments where I'm not good anymore, because we do it every day in CrossFit. Yeah,
you've created the baseline capacity over a long enough time that now you can face the demands of life.
Yeah. And not be afraid of the idea of doing good.
The value.
We've got a buddy coming to see us right here. I don't know whose that is.
The value isn't in that. The value is not in that you are fit enough to do it, which you are, but the value is in that you don't have the fear of trying.
Exposing yourself to things that you wouldn't have done before. That's the value. The value is exposure. And I think, why do we age? Because we stop exposing ourselves. We stop putting ourselves in environments that you know, it's almost like, you know, when we talk about the old grumpy man. Well, the old grumpy man is only that way because he started sitting on his porch and he stopped himself from seeing his friends or going into these environments that make him feel a little bit more uncomfortable.
It's good, man. Wow. Before we kind of move on from movement, what does movement mean to you right now beyond just training?
Mental clarity. If I don't move, I'm not a nice person. Yeah. And I've learned that over time. I never knew that before. It didn't matter before because it wasn't important. But I've started to recognize now, like, you know, when people talk about getting hangry, I get the same for movement. Sometimes my wife is like, can you just go do a workout? Because I'll go do a workout and then I'll come back and I'll be tired and but also have this energy. I'm like, should we go grab some dinner? Yeah. She's like, that's what you needed. Like, that's movement to me now. Like, especially now where I'm sitting a lot, I'm behind desks, I'm doing 5-hour lectures, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, movement to me is mental clarity. It allows me to it's almost like I get this brain fog when I'm not moving because I feel as though I'm losing who I am, and that was this athlete persona. I feel like I'm losing that, and then by working out, I clear that fog.
Did you go through a period of transition where I went through this, where I was so used to having like more volume? This is gonna sound kind of sick, but I used to,
I'm getting more swole now by having less volume.
When you train, you have like kind of aches and like on my elbows or like my wrist today, or small little things. I was so used to taking care of these kinks and different things, and when I reduced my volume, it was almost like I had this crisis of, oh, I don't feel that beat up, and therefore my training doesn't.
It's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working. Yeah. I've always felt, though, that I didn't believe in the idea that pain is positive.
Sure. More of a state is what I meant. It's like this state of
I get that. Like, we as CrossFit athletes, we got to beat ourselves up to feel like we've worked, like we're deserving of something, right? It's you're going through this certain level of adversity that makes you feel liberated, right?
Yeah.
It makes you feel amazing. So you kind of have to, if we go, and it's probably still the same today. If we come into the gym and we lollygag around and we're walk in and whatever, we're not going to walk out of the gym stimulated. Everyone needs something that stimulates them. Just the levels of stimulation are different for each person. Mm-hmm. So for me, I need to feel like I'm getting close to vomit. And then I'm like, I feel good. Yeah. But that doesn't mean I have to hurt myself anymore. And I'm starting to recognize that, I've come away from sport a little bit when I say I've come away, I'm not saying I'm never going to go back, right? I have desires to be in other things. I just need to figure that out. But it's funny. I actually am the opposite to that, where I had less aches and pains when I was working out more. It was like the joints and elbows and everything was all greased up. Now I'm starting to feel pains just from not working out as much. But I don't think pain is indicative of like hard work, but we do need to go through a certain level of pain because the whole point is building that adversity.
Do you think there's a right amount of, so I rate everything based on like intention. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you can have a very good 5-minute intentional workout.
100%, it's all intention.
And you can have a very good 60-minute Murph intentional workout,
I talk to my clients about this all the time. It's mind and body connection. And actually one of the things that I try and teach through the way I coach people is mind and body connection. If you can connect your mind to your body for the simple movement of like, I could do a bench press with no weight and contract my muscles just as hard as someone is with 185. Now, let's put 225 on the bar and contract the same way that I contracted with no weight on the bar. Do you see what I mean? And it's really creating mind and body connection, and that links back to your intention. And if you can learn to do that, you could have great intention in a 15-minute workout. You could be on vacation and get a good 15 minutes in. Mm-hmm. It's gonna create some better mental clarity. It's gonna release that fog, but it's also gonna stimulate your muscles.
That's good. You said the average about an hour for you is like would you call that the minimum effective dosage for you personally?
It varies. I think anything under an hour and I'm like, man, I can't be bothered, right? It gets to that point.
That's how I feel, yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, if I'm not going to commit an hour to this, then I'll just go do something else. Like I've got other tasks that I can get done. So it's more a case of like, for me, it's like the hour. If I can commit an hour, then I know I'm going to get a certain level of endurance and lifting and that stimulus in there for me. If it's less than an hour, I don't get as much in. But that's only coming from someone that's trained for 7 hours a day. Now, if you were someone that trains for an hour, you might find you get enough stimulus out 30 minutes. And if you do multiple sessions of 30 minutes, like let's say you go to the gym 3 times a week for an hour, or you go to the gym every day for 30 minutes, you're probably going to get more out of those 30 minutes.
Do you think let's just, for the sake of argument of a happy, healthy life, not talking daily, but across a week or on a monthly basis, is there a minimum effective dosage that you think for the average, we'll call it American, and we could talk about like the UK as well. I've been in LA all my life. It's just very busy. Mm-hmm. It's very busy. Mm-hmm. It's very, everyone's trying to grind.
We're all hustling.
And we're all hustling, we're trying to survive. And do you think that we've created a life where it's the attention to be able to focus on that and find that dosage is just difficult for people?
Well, your hustle should never compromise your health, because at a certain point you're going to die and there'll be no hustle left.
That's good. Clip.
Right? But that's just the truth. If your hustle is compromising health, then there's not going to be much hustle left at a certain point. Yeah. You're going to run out of it. You need to be healthy. And we're living in a country, especially in America, where everything is, we flick on the TV and we're seeing advertisements about medication and how to medicate, but we don't see enough advertisements about movement and how to eat right, Yeah. And unfortunately, there are people out there that know how to eat right and still can't eat right because they're putting shit in our food. So you have to focus on movement. You have to focus on health regardless. It doesn't matter how busy you are. Do I think there's a minimum dosage to it? or a maximum dosage. I think there's definitely a maximum dosage. I don't think there's a minimum dosage, if I'm honest. Like, and I'd say this to anyone, if you're someone that doesn't move and you go and get on that treadmill for 5 minutes and that's your starting point, great. Yeah. We've got something going, and we just need to create that momentum and create that flow. Now, do I think it's beneficial to go and do that on a Monday and then by Tuesday you're already eating trash, you're not doing anything more? No, you need to find something where you can do it consistently and it's not going to affect the amount of time that you have in your day to do other stuff.
Good. Let's transition to nutrition. That was really good. Let's transition to nutrition a little bit. You just brought it up. It's, there's people that are trying to eat well. And even with that intention, there's crap in your food, right? What does your nutrition look like now in this season of your life?
So
how's that changed?
I left CrossFit competition and I got myself a nutrition coach when I left. I'd never had a nutrition coach before. So I'm with CBG right now. I'll shout them out because they're amazing. They've been helping me.
That's hilarious.
And I've been working with Amanda, who's been awesome. But in season, I didn't have a coach. Now, my wife
Is that the secret to being a champion level athlete?
Yeah, just go and eat Chick-fil-A, man. That's where it's at. Yeah, big time Chick-fil-A. We can talk about my order, but it's probably not going to help what we're about to promote here.
I want to hear your order. I'm a big Chick-fil-A guy.
Well, it's not good for health, right? So anyone listening to this, don't go out and think that you can eat this daily. But man, my order used to be I would go to Chick-fil-A and I would get the grilled chicken burger with fries, right? Because I wanted to feel a little healthy with the grilled chicken burger. Obviously, you got the fries, but it's not the best burger. Hands down, meal number one, right? That fried chicken burger right there is the best burger that they got with the pickles and a bit of Chick-fil-A sauce. So then you got to back yourself up with one of those. But listen, so now you got your 2 burgers, you got your fries, right? You got to get a milkshake, bro. Especially if it's seasonal. Because if it's seasonal, they got the peach shake, and the peach shake is where it's at. And you know what? Later on in the evening, you might get a bit peckish. So a couple of nuggies for your extra Chick-fil-A sauce. That's where it's at. That's yeah.
You say you might get peckish?
Yeah, peckish.
Peckish.
Yeah, you never heard that one.
Is that like Jones? Does that mean Jonesing?
Like, I don't know. I don't know what you just said to me right there. What did you say?
Like you feel like at night, like you can't sleep. You're
hungry,
fiending,
bro.
You're fiending. Yeah,
you get peckish. So
peckish.
Yeah. So yeah, 2 burgers,
peckish all the time.
fries, shake, couple nuggies.
Peckish could mean something else.
It could mean you could turn that into something very provocative if you wanted to.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's why my mind
don't
got
ruin
stuck
the word
on
for
it.
me. But anyway, that is now as well. I mean, I'm gonna put this out there, and we're not branding or anything, but they started putting like antibiotics and stuff back into their food, which they never used to do. Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
So I used to go to Chick-fil-A, and you could get the grilled chicken sandwich, and you could get some good macros in right there. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of all this stuff that's going into food, but like what we're talking about, there's stuff going into food everywhere. So is that going to stop me eating? And like, let's be honest, right? You can sit here and be like, oh, I'm not one of these like nutrition gurus. I don't know enough about it. That's why I got Amanda from CBG. But like, you could go out there and you could be like, eat organic, do this, do that. Most of the time, people are lying to us anyway, and they still have crappy things in them. So you just have to make that decision. I still like snacks, and I still eat unhealthy to some degree sometimes. But I try and do the majority of my grocery shop within the first 4 hours of the grocery store, right? You know you're going to be going into the natural produce. You start working your way into those back aisles, and it turns into all the processed foods and stuff like that. And just live with this idea of like, for me, it's always been like, am I eating enough protein, first and foremost? Cool, I've got enough protein in.
Rule number 1.
I need carbs for energy, so I'm going to get some carbs in there. Well, I love my veggies, I love my salad. So listened to someone talk about salads are pointless and you don't need salads, but I love salads, right? And then you start throwing in the fats. But if you're focusing on your protein and your carb pre and post workout, that's the way I like to do it.
What's your minimum effective dosage on protein for you?
For me?
I hit this no matter what.
It's less of a, and forgive me for saying this, I'm going to be up and honest, right? And I'm not this type of man. I'm not old school like that. My wife makes all my meals. We have roles in the house. I do all the laundry, the cleaning. She does all the meals. She's better at it. I don't like cooking. I don't like counting. When Amanda sent me my cheat sheet through and how I should be eating.
Showed your wife?
I didn't even look at it. I sent it to my wife and I said, can you take a look at this? So my wife does it. But like, there's a protein portion with every meal that I have. I'm having 5 meals a day. Ultimately, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I'm in school, I get 1 meal in a day, dude, or 2 meals in a day. Like I don't eat a lot. But when I'm not, and that's just me being upfront, right? So then I'll have to kind of like, I'll have to pre-eat or post-eat a little more. But then also the reason why I assigned a nutrition coach now is because before I was burning 4,000 plus calories a day.
Sure.
I could eat whatever I wanted. I could go and eat that Chick-fil-A. I had to eat Sour Patch Kids in training. There was no way I could get those carbs in.
Yeah.
And then I came away from training and I still wanted to do that. But you can't do that anymore. And that's where I had to make that adjustment.
That's how I got here. That's good, man.
Still can't turn down a Sour Patch Kid. But.
Man, that's how I got here. I almost ate Chick-fil-A for 100 days. One of my buddies operates a Chick-fil-A in Monterey Park.
I tried to get sponsored by them.
Yeah?
When I was an athlete.
Did you really?
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, they said no.
Yeah.
No, they just.
Would you?
No, do you know what they actually said? They said they don't do any. And I actually didn't realize this, but if you look at the commercial and stuff they don't do athlete endorsements. It's all employees. All their commercials are employees, and that's how they do it. So I actually got up to one of the. He was like the head of sponsorships, but he only sponsors his own employees. So he's just like, yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Oh, it's funny. You're a tattoo guy. Mm-hmm. Would you tattoo? Is Chick-fil-A like your favorite like go-to eating out?
It's the most consistent.
Yeah.
It's the most consistent.
Once a week?
Huh?
Once a week?
Yeah.
Bi-weekly?
I mean, I got to have fried chicken at least once a week. It might not always be Chick-fil-A, but I'm fried chicken and sushi for me, man.
Ooh, I do like some
and
sushi.
And poke, but fried chicken, yeah. But I also love Raisin Canes.
Dude, Raisin Cane's not that good.
Cane sauce, dude. That's
the thing though.
The cane sauce.
If you take the sauce away, dude, it kind of sucks.
The tenders are done well. They're not as good as, and the fries are not like the waffle fries. I think as far as chicken goes, chicken
is good.
It doesn't have variety, and that's the problem. It doesn't have the variety, but the chicken is good. And you mix it with their sauce.
Yeah.
They've just opened up a Main Chick around here. I don't know if you heard of that.
Okay, yeah. They started in Alhambra. Yeah.
Main Chick's pretty good. Bangin' Buns. You ever been there in North Hollywood? Bangin' Buns. I could do fried chicken all day. We should probably talk about something that's
healthier
than.
Yeah. Raisin Cane's like a 7.5 for me.
Stop it.
But Chick-fil-A's a 9 to 9.5 on any given day.
I will put the mic down and walk out if you start saying it's a 7 for Raisin Canes. That's disrespectful.
I'd say if you hit it with the sauce, 8.5. But it's like I'll put it this way, like I think all fried chicken like is good.
Yeah.
It's fried chicken, it's delicious.
Yeah.
You know, so the baseline's already a 7.
Yeah. So. I went out to New Orleans after the games, 24, when I met my friend, Matt Love, awesome dude. We went out and we went to a few restaurants, and I wish I could remember the name, but he sent me to this one restaurant that had they call it a chicken sandwich here. We call it chicken burgers. But
chicken burgers.
Yeah, but it's called a chicken sandwich in America apparently. So I went out to this place, and it was the chicken sandwich that I had, unbelievable. And cornbread too. I love cornbread. Cornbread with a bit of honey.
What kind of sandwich? Oh, I answered it first. I was like, is Jersey Mike's a sandwich, or is it what do you guys call it?
Sandwich. Yeah, that's a sandwich. Yeah, it's a sandwich.
It's not like okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the original question. That was a tangent. Chick-fil-A is like pretty peak for you, right?
Yeah, it's up there.
Okay. Would you tattoo their logo
for free meals?
For life.
100%. In a heartbeat. I'd do it right now. I'd let you tattoo the logo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Neck tat.
Not now. That's pushing. I'm again, not that it's identity crisis. I'm actually getting this one removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, just from a professional perspective.
Dude, I was gonna ask you.
I've got my hands tattooed as well. So anyone watching this is gonna be like, he's got his hands tattooed. But do you know what's funny? I've been in meetings. I've sat with people. I've spoke to them, and they haven't known I've had my hands tattooed because they're not staring at your hands.
Yeah.
But everyone stares at your face and they see your neck. So from a professional standpoint, especially where I'm trying to get into fire and all that kind of stuff now, I didn't realize removing a tattoo takes 2 years.
Yeah, because it browns out first. Yeah.
I went in, I was like, I got 6 months of school, get rid of it. And they're like, no, you got 2 years of this.
My second question for you was, see that's how strong any kind of thing face or neck is. My second question that I skipped because I wasn't sure if we were gonna talk about it was like, how about that neck tat, dude? Like what's the story on the neck? I think it says perspective?
Yep.
No way.
But if I stand in front of the mirror, it reads perspective to me. But if you look at it, it's the wrong way around.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Not a lot. just have perspective. Yeah. So I've got one on my lower portion of my neck, which says comparison is a thief of joy. And I spent a lot of time, especially in my early career, where I was making money through, brand sponsorships and social media. So I was trying to put out content that was like others and trying to
see that real quick.
Trying to compare myself. So I got that on there as a little reminder that like keep comparing yourself to other people. And I'm always shooting for the stars. I'm a go-getter. I like things. I like toys. I like cars. I always want stuff, and I'm always comparing myself to people that I'm around. I get to be around some pretty amazing people, but I have to remember like your time will come. And sometimes I get too focused and I start to compare myself, and I get into points where I'm like, maybe I'm not worthy, or maybe I'm not as good as, or maybe I'm not as wealthy, and I've now learned over years that wealth is not money, it's what you have with family. But there's been times where I haven't felt that way. So that was a bit of a reminder to me. But apart from that, and the tattoo of my wife and my son says David on my hands, and I've got a David and Goliath tattoo on my leg. Everything else is just ink, man. Like if I was the same me today with no tattoos, I would never get a tattoo. But I'm not that me. I'm the me with tattoos, so I want to cover my whole body. You see what I mean? Like it's gone the opposite way. But tattoos are just an expression.
It's good.
It's just art. I like art. I like putting it on my skin. I like looking at it. That's why I don't have any back tattoos, because I can't see it. I want to get a back tattoo because I want to feel my back. But how do I enjoy a back tattoo? You spend thousands of dollars on a back tattoo, and how am I going to see it?
Yeah.
You got one?
That was my first tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's in Chinese, and I can't read it.
So you got that's like double bad on your back, and you can't read it. You might as well pull it upside down, because it doesn't even matter at that point.
I know. I can't see it, but the best part is if I took that tattoo.
And you got a Polynesian tattoo as well, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
I love Polynesian ink, man. There's a guy called Kiwi Bert. He's out in. I'm shouting at everyone today. By the way, I've got no sponsors, so I can talk about everyone. There's a guy called Kiwi Bert. He's out in Vegas. Dude, I've been trying to get in with him for like 3 years, and he only posts. So he posts his openings online. And they close within like a couple of hours, but he does it on Instagram. So I'll hit him up and he'd be like, they all closed.
He's Polynesian?
He does yeah. Okay. And his work, he does it like, so really cool, like it's Polynesian design, but he adds in like white ink so it pops.
Dude,
it's insane.
Yeah, I got this lion's head's got white in it. It's pretty cool.
Insane, man.
If you want, I'll refer you to my guy. He's
okay, I'll take a look.
I feel really bad saying this, but I hope he's still alive. He's an ex-military guy in Long Beach.
Okay.
Authentic Roots Tattoo, so shout out.
Okay.
But he would ink me up, like, so I would have a 4-hour session.
But I'm more concerned about why you're saying you hope he's still alive.
I hope he's like, just because he's got habits. He's got vices. Yeah. So I'd get a tattoo. It's like a. I get there at 8. We don't start till like 11, and I leave at like 4.
Yeah.
And dude will drink an entire Crown Royale.
Dang.
Before, like, and during, he's like drinking, and he's like, it stills my hand.
It's like that, man. Yeah. The guy that did, so I got this whole sleeve done at a place called, you got LA ink, right? So we had London ink. It came to the UK, and I got this done by a guy there, and he would be like blazing up, drinking.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he smokes a couple blunts
coming in off benders. I mean, one time he quit at the shop and had to finish my tattoo, and he invited me to his house. I'm not going to say on record what was happening at his house, but they were making some stuff in the kitchen, and I'm laying there getting a tattoo done.
Wow.
And then that was it. I never went back there again. Wow. But he was amazing artist. But
it's same thing. It's like amazing. He's got that artist. He's got that artist element.
Bro. It's the creativity.
And so he's got to like dial in. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the session, he'll pause. He can be like, "You want a burrito?" And we'll like walk over to Taco Bell, get a burrito. He'll chomp, and then he'll like, "All right, I'm ready again." And I was just like, I mean, it's good, so I'm just gonna go with it. Like,
well, you think about anything. I don't endorse substances, right? But you think about anything. If you're sitting there for hours and just doing it meticulously, and then all of a sudden you're like, should I mess this up or should I take a break?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So he eats a little chalupa break, you know, and he blazes again.
Yep.
I really hope he's. I'm gonna send him a text after this actually, just to check up on him, because I would check up on him periodically.
Like, hey, dude, you okay?
Yeah, just because he's like, ex-military Samoan dude. Just he's got a story, man.
Yeah.
He's got a story, you know. So as we kind of move on from nutrition, and we talk nutrition and tattoos, man. I didn't know it was gonna go that way. Are there any non-negotiables in your daily intake?
Food-wise?
Yeah.
Not just life-wise. Non-negotiables, like that I have to have.
Other than Sour Patch Kids.
You know, as they used to be, when I was obviously competing a lot harder and stuff like that.
What were those and what are they now?
Well, the amount of meals that I had, it was like a non-negotiable was 5. Like I was eating 5 meals. Like if I could get more, I'd get more in. I would always have my evening oatmeal. Like that was a non-negotiable, so that I didn't wake up in the middle of the night hungry, because I was always waking up hungry, stuff like that. Now, when you have children, dude, you're not allowed to have non-negotiables. you get what you get when you get it, you know? Yeah. And like I said, you know, I work on my nutrition. I try and eat healthy, but I'm a human being, man. I like restaurants. I like going out. I like and I think sometimes we get caught up in this idea, like, if you can live on the like 80-20 rule, 80% of the time you're locked in, 20% you let it go.
Yeah.
That's fine. And that doesn't mean like that all has to be on one day as well. Like I hate the binge eating type of stuff that people do where they're like, you know what, I'm going to be locked in from Monday through Friday, then Saturday I'm going to go crazy, and then come Sunday you're like, well, I don't want to lock in again because now it's still the weekend, then Monday you have to... And I don't like that. I would rather have a little treat every day. If I want a chocolate bar or I want a snack or something on a Wednesday, I'm going to have it. I have it whenever I want it, but just know that the rest of my stuff has to be in line with health.
That's good.
You know?
That's good. Because I asked that because, you know, I love the commentary on being a parent, right? But some people have been a parent for 15 years. They have a 15-year block of having young children where you're not the priority, right? And it's like, I don't see a world where you ever become morbidly obese. But that's because you have some type of non-negotiable that you probably don't even realize you have.
And I like activity. I like moving. I like healthy foods. Like I know we joked about Chick-fil-A and stuff like that, but like I said, I like eating my salads. I like eating my greens. I like chicken. I like protein. I like steak. I like good stuff. I'm not like, you know, and I like moving. And I think sometimes where people get lost and, you know, they're doing it for 15 years or they're watching this and they're like, well, how do I get into it? Just start. Like, and I know that sounds so simple, but like if you eat really bad all day long, have one good meal a day. Start there and do that for a little bit. And then, because when I first got into the gym, when I started this and I said I smoked, smoking was cold turkey. Like next day, not doing it. I'm never, just put it down, never smoking again. But food, I still used to go to the gym and I would come out of the gym, and because I wasn't smoking, I was eating worse, right? Because you have to pick up something else. So I'd go to the gym just so I could come out of the gym and eat a whole pack of cookies. And I didn't give myself stick for it because I was going to the gym. I didn't even do that. So now I'm going to the gym. Yeah, I'm eating bad, but I'm going to the gym. Okay, cool. Then when I started running or I got a little bit better, eating those cookies hurt. So I'm going to reduce the cookies, but I might have something else. And piece by piece, you start adding in things that occupy the time and occupy what you're doing. And you find you start to pivot from this unhealthy lifestyle to this healthy lifestyle. I don't recommend like what I did with smoking. I mean, smoking is just another beast. It's terrible. You shouldn't be doing it. So that's why I went cold turkey. But I don't recommend with food being like, I'm never going to eat this again. I'm never going to drink alcohol again. Because what happens is you relapse and you feel terrible. What you say is, now I'm going to try something different. And if I have one of these things, it's okay. Because I'm adding something in that's positive. So
that's good, man. What does it mean to stick? You said something. I'm not giving myself the stick. What is that?
I'm like, when you say these things back to me, I'm like, what did I say? Any stick. So like giving myself a hard time. Hard time.
Is it like, is that like the UK PG version of like?
Yeah, give myself any shit.
Okay. Cool. Nice, man. I told you I'm going to learn something today. Man,
Trader Joe's, by the way, sparkling water. Nothing fancy.
It's a beer. It's Happy Dad, guys. What's, you know, now that you're in family life and when you're in that season of your life, you know, a lot of your connections are, I'm looking at it right now. I look at these banners and
some stories up there.
Some stories up there.
People come in here and they're like, isn't this your wife's gym too? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, where's her pictures? And I'm like, yeah, that's a fair point. I need to get some of those up.
There's only two of these that are of you, but the rest of it is with friends. It's I would hope they're your friends still. Yeah. Friends, probably even call them family, right? Because you guys have literally gone through battle, right?
I mean, they are family. Most people don't know this, but I'll put it out here. Like Chandler Smith and Jesse Smith are about to be godparents to my next child. So
amazing.
Yeah, they are family for sure. And you know, like Laura.
Is your son named Chan?
Is my son named Chan? My next son?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, like, you know, Lauren, Jorge, Brittany, me and Brittany are still close. I help, you know, Brittany with some of her books, managing her and stuff like that. And Dev, they're amazing people. You know, we had, what people don't realize is when you're connected to someone through fitness and especially through a shared common passion, you spend more time with, I mean, even last season, right? I was spending more time with my team than I was spending with my family, right? Or my team were coming along with my family. We were all hanging out together. Yeah. But you build these really intense relationships. There's so many people that I've met throughout my career that like, maybe to this day, we're not talking right now, but if I was to walk down the street or see them at an event, it would be like, we're straight back to it. Like they're my homies, you know, like.
It's good.
So yeah, you build some pretty amazing connections, and it's through shared suffering. And what better connection is there through shared suffering?
It's good. Yeah, you know, I look at the mission that I'm on in life right now, and this is really cool. It makes me want to like put more pictures of people that matter like around my house, other than just my family, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I put a picture out the other day on social media, and I was like, man, it was a really good picture of me and my wife. And I was like, I need to get this picture done, like blown up and put on the wall. And Jessie actually commented on it, and she was like, oh, is that a hint? As if like to say like, does she need to go out and get that picture for me? Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, I'd rather you send or bring a picture of you and Chandler so I can put that up on my wall. Like, I don't need you to get a picture of me and my wife. I can do that. But if my friends want to bring pictures, like I want pictures of them. I want, you know, people that I love around my house.
Yeah. You know, there's like, yeah, it's like you guys have essentially gone through your own version of war. We have our team at the gym, Reason Fitness, which is still related to the podcast, is we have a team of 10, 2 physios, 1 media full-time, and the rest of us are coaches, staff. 3 of us have been together now for 8 years, right? My longest standing, Luke, he's been with us for going on 11 years, 12 years almost. And we went through COVID together.
Older than your kids.
Older than my kids, right? And it's like, when I look at them, it's like I can genuinely say it feels like family.
For sure.
They feel, and I've said it out loud, and people don't like it when I say this, but it's like they feel closer than family for me.
Not by blood, but the heart.
Yeah, you know, that guy's really good looking, man. That guy to the right of you with the mustache.
I have a mustache too, bro. What are you trying to say?
Sorry, the one with the green shirt. Oh yeah, that man is handsome, dude.
Jorge, he thinks you're very handsome.
I couldn't help myself.
That's not my best photo. I look really pale in that. There must have been some bright flash on that photo.
You look good. You look good. Do you want
to know something that I haven't told people, and I probably shouldn't have told people?
What's that?
But I mean, I'm not really doing anything right now. I got COVID there.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
I
was like on my deathbed. I woke up.
Bro.
I woke up crying. I couldn't
where
breathe.
is that?
I mean, we don't need to say it on the record.
Oh, yeah, that's at a competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And I woke up and I couldn't breathe. And in environments where we had to be around people, I was masking up. I was taking all those precautions.
Okay.
But I turned to my team. I woke up. I remember I was on so much medication. I said to my wife, I cannot do this. I'm not going to be able to make it. I felt like that was it. I was in so much pain.
In competition?
In competition. And I looked at my team and I said, look, this is the situation. Do you still want to do it with me? And they're like, hell yeah, we want to do it. So I was like, all right.
Hey.
So, yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. We don't need to go any further.
I'm going to want your take on this, and I want to see what you think about this. I've said it, my wife hates it, and I don't know if I should say this publicly. It sounds really bad. Okay.
Change the name of the podcast to Honesty Podcast.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty myself everywhere, so okay. I told my wife that if she got AIDS, HIV, I want that. Not because you get what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, not that I want.
You can't drop it. You dropped that so seductively. It looked at me.
Like, you get what I'm saying, right?
You got it?
Because she's like, hey,
I need me some of that.
She's like, I would never let you. I'm like, no, I'm getting that. Like, I don't care.
But the trouble is, where did she get it from?
Okay. Okay. All right. That aside, man. That aside. Okay.
I hear the sentiment. I see where it's going. I just don't think you picked the right disease.
Okay. Sure.
But I get you.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a sentence, right? That's a disease, right? And it's like,
I mean, these days, not always, but
yeah, because you can transfuse your blood out. But like, let's say, and I said this when we were like,
basically what you're saying is you would die for your wife.
I would risk the death, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I'll get the. It's like, yeah, we're gonna just start getting treatment together because I'm not. Love you, babe. She doesn't watch any of the podcasts either, so but clip this ish. I'm not. I am not making love to my wife. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
I'd rather die.
That's a fair point.
You know?
Just maybe do your research of where it came from first.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it was a needle prick at work, or something,
an accident.
That can happen. I get that, but Yeah, man. No, I hear you. And do you know what? Jokes aside, I feel 100. If this is getting kind of deep, but I've said this to my wife. I'm like, obviously, I have a responsibility to our children now. But if my wife was not here, I don't think I would have purpose. Aside from everything, because
we should talk about that,
the purpose that I have now was given to me by my wife. She made me see way more clearly and see things that I didn't think possible. Like, even though I had these goals, I didn't know how to achieve the goals. She showed me how to achieve the goals. You know, in life, she gave me a son, she gave me marriage, she gave me stability, she gave me happiness, she gave me hope. Like, all these things. And like, what people don't realize, like, you find the right woman and you get married. Some people, not good people, they see marriage as like, it's there, so I could do whatever I want. No. When you're married and you know like I know I could be having the worst day possible and I could be an absolute asshole. Excuse me for saying that, but like with my words and things I say.
Very pleasant.
Right? English, right? But or I could just be like not a pleasant person to be around. Yeah. But my wife has the patience to say, this is not you. How do we fix it together?
It's good.
I've never been with anyone like that. And I've been in relationships before. And before I met my now wife, I didn't think I went through a period, you know, when I was younger, like I wanted kids and stuff, but I went through a period where I was like, I can't see a point where I'm gonna have these kids because I can't see anyone. I was like, am I just doomed? Like none of these women are working out for me. You know, and I met my wife through a very sad time. Her father was sick and he has since passed away, but we, in the early stages of our relationship.
Wasn't your dad just now?
It's father-in-law. But that's, this is going to get confusing on the podcast. So I have my father-in-law and mother-in-law living with me, but he is the husband of my mother-in-law.
I see.
See what I'm saying?
I see.
So we went through a time where I was trying to compete and all of this stuff, and I noticed my wife needed help. We'd only been together a couple of months, and I quit.
How old were you?
This was in the early stage of our relationship, so maybe like, I don't know, how long we've been together? Like 5-6 years. This was in 2018.
Oh, wow. 8 years. 8 years.
Is that 8 years?
That's 8 years, man. Well, at the end of this year, 7 years.
Dang. Okay. Shoot. But in the early stages...
he didn't forget.
I didn't forget. No, it's just... Yeah. My wife's father was obviously sick, and I quit my job, and she came back to England. She was living here. Her father was in England. She came back to England. I went and lived with her and helped take care of him and did everything that I needed to do to support her because I knew this was the one. You know, that's where I was going with that. You know, like, and I think there's this weird, I don't know what it is. You probably felt it too. Everyone talks about it. You just know when it's the one. You just know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't imagine a life without her.
It's good, man. It's really good. I married my high school sweetheart, so.
Yeah.
And we've
but the AIDS topic, that was a weird one.
I got to find a better one. But the thing, that's real. I said that to her. She's like, you're a freak. And I was like.
Well, why don't you just say it like, if I could catch cancer to be with you, I'd do that too.
Yeah, but you can't transmit cancer like that.
But you're just showing me the feeling.
Yeah. I think, you know what happened was like, it was like we were talking about Magic Johnson.
He cured that though.
Yeah, he has the money to cure it, you know? So, I mean.
Which begs the question.
Bro.
You know, I'm working in medical now and there's a cure for everything, man. But we don't want healthy people. We want sick people because sick people is medical.
You think we got the cure for cancer?
I think we got the cure for cancer, 100%.
Dude, that's... Okay, I got so many thoughts. That's a jump off on a whole nother tangent that we can't afford to go on.
How much money do we spend on cancer treatments?
Okay, I have so many thoughts on cancer.
We eradicate cancer treatments. Yeah, maybe we could then turn around and say, well, the cure for cancer is X amount of money, but then now you're saying it's an elitist form. Only the rich people can cure their cancer, and anyone that's poor can die. So we don't bring that cure. We just let everyone go through treatment.
Bro, I have so many thoughts on that. Okay, yes. Oh my gosh, okay, yeah. It sounds so conspiracy theorist though, right?
I mean, there's something behind everything.
I always...
U.S. politics is full of it, but we don't need to go down that road.
There's two questions that I always beg. I'm like, how do we not have the cure of cancer today? We have like drones that shoot bullets. Mm-hmm. Like, you can have a war with drones now. Mm-hmm. We can't cure cancer, and we can't get everybody water. Like, water is still a problem. Did you know what percentage of the world has water? Do you think it's close to 100?
No. What, like where there is water?
No, accessibility to clean water.
I don't know. Tell me.
It's like only the majority of the what do you call it? major
like the Western world.
Western world, I think there's like 30% of the world doesn't have water.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Clean water.
It's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, what even we live us in one of the richest places on earth.
Yeah.
And homelessness is through the roof. Make it make sense. We
got stories about homelessness.
How is extreme poverty still a thing? How have we got billionaires?
Yeah.
And yet we've still got people that are dying because they don't have enough food.
Bro, I don't know, man.
And I'm the first person to say I'm not taking away from the billionaires. Yeah. You know, people are like, well, you know, no one needs to be a billionaire. We should take their money. Yeah. I don't care if you're a billionaire or not. Yeah. But I do care about the idea of there being billionaires and still people that can't eat. And still people that don't have clean water. That's crazy to me. But I'm also not one of these people, like I'm not on that crusade or I don't know what the right term is. Like I'm not out there trying to fight for humanity. And I'm just being honest in a degree where I'm like, I need to do something about it. Because if I did, then I'd be working in that field. Yeah, we let a homeless guy, I mean, I'm putting this on air right now, dude. I'm sure I should not be putting this on air. Yeah. We had an incident and I tried to be kind and it has not worked out in our favor. It's like the kindness literally killed me and my team. Mm-hmm. So we've been dealing with that this week. But it's just because we try to help somebody out. And yeah, but that also, you should never let, because you're trying to help someone out and it backfiring on you, you should never let that taint your character, because you did that from the goodness of your heart. And unfortunately, you need to look at some people, they have mental disabilities, they have so many problems that are going on that are hindering the way they're engaging with you, that it should never change the way you try and do the right thing. 100%. Let's kind of wrap up from connection. What does it mean for you to? I really like these pictures. What does it mean for you to have healthy connections in your life? Then and now. Then you had a team that fought with you, fought against you sometimes. Mm-hmm. Oh, we fought. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, what was that like in that season of your life? It was real. Versus now, and what does that mean for you? Yeah, it was real. Like the good times, the bad times, all of it. It was just real. It was very authentic. Everything was meaningful, and it had meaning behind it. I think, you know, having those connections and healthy connections is critical. I'm in a very beautiful location, as you've mentioned, being here, but it's not a location where I've built my foundation and I have the majority of my friends. So it's also a hard location to be in. While I love the area and I love my home and I love, you know, the way that I live and I love my space and all that kind of stuff, I don't have the same connections that I had when I was living in San Diego or where I was building these friendship groups or when I was in West Hollywood and stuff like that. So while I have a place for my family and for us to grow and all that kind of stuff, I have diminished some of the connection side of it. Me and my wife talk about this all the time. We kind of, while we love it here, we're like, maybe we'll stay here for like another 5 years or so, or till my son goes to school, and then we'll move to the beach, because, you know, I love the beach. I love, you know, being in those environments, coffee shops, meeting people. You know, I'm in a beautiful area, but I am secluded to the sense that, yeah, there's a Starbucks 2.5 miles down the street, but there's no pathways. You're not walking there. You got to drive there. You got to get in your car to go everywhere, right? How far is like the closest thing for you? It's not far, but everything is driving distance. And I spent 2024 season living on Coronado. Oh my goodness. And my wife didn't get in a car for 6 months, unless we went somewhere like a doctor's appointment or something like that. I would get in the car and drive over to downtown to train, but my wife, she was on the islands, just walking everywhere and safe and all that kind of stuff, you know. So we do miss that, and we do miss having that greater connection, not only with the friends and the people that you love, but also I'm that annoying guy. I walk down the street, someone looks at me, I'm like, hey bud, how you doing? Yeah. Like, I'm that guy. Someone walks past my house, I'm like, hey, what's your name? I'm trying to meet the neighbors. Is that not happening out here? Not as much as you think, because we're on pretty big plots, right? It's like 1 to 5 acre lots, so it's very hard unless you're walking in front of someone's house. But I try and catch people. I'm like, hey man, I'm the new guy around here. When did you move in? 2.5 years ago. Yeah, you're not that new. I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to meet my neighbors, you know? Oh man. Because again, as you get older, it's very real, man. I see, especially a lot of older men, their families grow up, you know, God forbid something bad happens, they become secluded, they're on their own. We don't, apart from with our families, we don't build connections really outside. Wow. You know, and you just said it then. You just even mentioned about like your wife is there, and I mentioned it. My wife is everything. It means everything to me. Yeah. I don't want to share my deepest and darkest secrets with everyone, right? But my wife knows everything. And unfortunately, that's why men suffer with depression and you know, a lot of disorders that put them in positions where they're very unhappy. And that's because we're not focusing on connection. And I think the connection, it's funny as well, like when the people that talk about connection the most, like when, and forgive me for saying this, but when ladies talk about how men should connect and stuff like that, only men know how to connect, man. Like, we need to be in a space talking shit, acting like we hate each other, drinking some beers. You know, that's what we need, right? Sitting out on a back porch and like just insult. Like sometimes I meet my brothers and all we do is insult each other. And I'm like, dang, that was what I really needed.
This is funny. My wife goes like, "Oh, what are you guys gonna do?" I go,
"Nothing."
Yeah, what do you mean? She's like, "Well, what are you guys doing though?" I'm like, hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the hangout is the reason.
Dude, I'm on the phone sometimes to Chandler, hour and a half in the office. I sit in the office and do it, right? Because I just want to chat to my boy. Yeah. My wife, she loves. I tell my wife everything. What do you talk about? Nothing. What do you mean? You was on the phone for an hour. I can't tell you what I spoke about. I don't even know. It's not that I'm keeping it from you. I have no idea what I spoke about. We just spoke.
Yeah.
That's what you need sometimes.
Yeah, that's good, man. So how do you balance that now that you have? I've literally just read a book, and I'll plug the book. It's a really good book by this lawyer named Joshua Whitmell-Early. He wrote a book called Made for People, and it talks about like the drifting into loneliness and having a life where you have good friendships and how important that is for your soul. How do you weigh that now that you are living this life and you know your closest friends you're FaceTiming, I'm guessing, right? Like
I invite people here a lot.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've got space.
Yeah.
I get people to come and stay, come and hang out. Obviously, it's a lot harder for me traveling around with a kid and stuff like that. Especially with my wife being pregnant now. If it was just my son, we would be moving around still. But with being in school and stuff, I always invite people out. A couple weeks ago, I had Lauren and Ras staying out here. Chandler and Jesse come and stay here. I always have friends passing through. There was actually a period, we're getting a little bit of a break now, but there was like a 3-month window where we had someone sleeping in our house every day for 3 months. So like I've got a buddy that shoots movies out here, and he was staying here for a little while, and then Chandler would be here, and then someone else would be here. Then my mother-in-law, before we got that little RV set up for my mother-in-law, then someone else would be here, and they come and visit now and just like kind of camp out in that thing and then head out. So
it's good. It's good, man. I love that. Your mindset over the years, you know, you've been, if you look at your life, you've been in such a different place. Dude, go back 1 decade, dude. You were a smoker a decade ago, bro. Like would you say that you were a smoker a decade ago?
Yeah.
Like that was your identity, piece of your identity. You smoke, you said a pack a day?
Yeah. Oh, dude, and I loved it too.
I just
love the look. I used to wear suits to work, and I'd be standing out the front in my suit with my cigarette.
Oh, you were Mad Men, dude.
Yeah.
Is that you? You were like the Mad Men guy?
Yeah, and I was down on Savile Row. I don't know if you heard of it too, but like, you ever seen, there's a movie where they're down there. Anyway, it's like a traditional street in London where it's all tailors, but I was down there.
I see. Oh, you like to dress up. Oh, wow. I can see that. Yeah, so, you know, you were literally a smoker a decade ago. You've gone through so many changes. Did you have tattoos? Yeah, your tattoos at 17.
Yeah.
You know, you're in fashion. Half a decade later, you're in your mid-20s, you're like competing to try to win fittest on earth. Right?
You want to know something? I was never competing to try and win fittest on earth.
You what?
I was never competing to try and win fittest on earth. I was competing to try and get to the games. That was where I thought it ended for me. I had no...
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't until 2022 when we made the games as a team and we came third, and I was like,
maybe we got a shot.
We can win this thing. But I had that was not even on my... Winning the games? Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. Making the games is insane. That's a task in its own.
Yeah.
Winning the games? So, and it's funny, people are like, oh, I had this burning desire to win, and I think that's amazing. I was like, I want to be there.
Wow.
And then when I got there, I was like, I want a podium. And then when I podiumed, I was like, now I want to win. But it was never like, I want to go to the games and win. That's a crazy dream. I mean, I'm sure some people dream it, but that's crazy to me.
That doesn't even get close until you felt close, right?
Nah, and it was funny because in 2021, I was the fittest in the UK, but I didn't get a games ticket out of it. I was like a couple spots out. I did the last chance. I was a couple spots out and then had to do the last chance qualifier that year. But got the fittest in the UK, and I went and worked for one of my sponsors at the games. I'd never been to the CrossFit Games before. 2021 was the first time I went to CrossFit Games, so I'm never coming back here as a spectator.
Was 2021
It was in Madison.
It was still Madison.
It was in Madison. Yeah, it was in Madison. And I remember watching it, and I was so fit, and I had so much energy. I was like, I'm never coming back to this place and watching it as a spectator. Now that's changed. I could go back and watch it as a spectator now because it's just different when you come out of the sport.
But you had a mind shift.
But I was like, I don't want to see this thing unless I'm on that floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in 2021, how fit were you?
I mean, I feel like I was very fit. I was placing top in some open workouts. My weakness used to be, or typically was like gymnastics and thrusters.
Yeah.
So we'd always get that one workout that was Fran-like, that would kind of knock me out.
Yeah.
And I had to work really hard on that. That was typically what kind of messed me up. But I was very fit. And then 2022, I got fitter. 2023, I think I was my fittest. Me and Chandler argue about this all the time because Chandler's like, nah, dude, you were fittest in 2024. And I'm like, nah, 2023. But 2023, I was 218 pounds. I was big. I mean, I don't know. You can't really see. I mean, you can see it in that picture up there, right? Like size-wise, comparison to that picture up there, right? That's 1 year. And
Dang.
I was working with my coach, Tino, and we went through this insane squat.
Still no nutrition coach too, bro.
No nutrition coach.
Chick-fil-A.
Just a great wife.
Great
wife at Chick-fil-A.
And milkshakes.
So, but I was doing 20 rep squat sessions. I missed out.
Yeah, that's a thick daddy up there, dude. At
that time I was able to squat 405 for 16, 17 reps. I was going for 20.
Bro.
Yeah. That's
That's on Smoloff Jr. or what? That's on the program, right?
Yeah. So Tino Marini, Santino Marino, he's Marini. He's at Invictus. He was at Invictus. He left Invictus, but we've been friends. He's from Scotland. So I said, look, I always want to work with you. And we were doing squat sessions, dude. That would be like, all right, let me try and think of one. So we would have like, it would be a 30 cal standing bike into 20 back squats into a heavy sled push. That would be the set. Rest 2 minutes, go again.
It's disgusting.
And the squats would be at between like 225 up to 315.
It's disgusting.
It was nuts. We were doing insane stuff.
You got a shaky leg, dude.
Oh, I mean, my legs were like, I mean, they were tree trunks.
You're like drinking nitro oxide, dude. You're drinking NO Explode in the middle of a workout.
But
dude.
I was also able to run as well. I had great, I think it was just after that competition, I ran a 1 hour, it's like a 1 hour 38 mile, 1 hour 38 half marathon.
Wow.
You know?
Jeez.
So not super fast, but like in comparison for what I was lifting and running, I was, you know, I don't know what question you just asked me and why I went on that tangent.
I can't remember either now. It was about mindset. I mean, what do you think your superpower is?
My superpower?
If you had one. Because you've reinvented yourself and you're in the middle of one right now, twice in a decade.
Being able to see every side of everything. Which, and that's not a physical superpower, that's a mental superpower.
Yes.
People joke and say I sit on the fence a lot and I never make a decision because I'm seeing every side. I see every side in politics, I may not know every side, but I'm always looking at every side. And I flip-flop. And that's why I hate this idea where people are like, oh, 5 years ago, you said this. Well, can I not grow and change and evolve and say something different in another 5 years?
It sounds like...
Now I try and see every side to everything.
It sounds like the second half to what you're saying right now is you also give yourself permission to be wrong.
100%. All the time.
Which a lot of people don't.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, man. How do you...
I'm wrong most of the time, to be honest with you.
Aren't we all? One thing I love to say a lot is like, I'll be in the middle of like an argument, dude. I'm like heated, dude. And then like at the very near tail end of the argument, like I've my face is red. I've yelled. And I go, you know what, honestly, there's a chance I'm wrong.
It just hits you.
And then my wife will be like, what?
Yeah.
And she'll get even more mad. She's like, what do you mean there's a chance you could be wrong? You just argued, like, your neck is like, your veins are popping. And I'm like, I mean, yeah.
See, for me, I would do the same thing, but I'd just be like, I'd be arguing and I go, huh. Yeah, maybe you're right. And I'm like, I just realized everything I just said was wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like, you're in a season of being a student. Mm-hmm. That's a season that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
outside of what you're learning in school, what are you currently learning or unlearning?
Outside of school?
Yeah. It could be fitness, life related, but what do you...
I'm actively working on patience, and that's a child thing, with my son and stuff. We're going through that period right now where he just wants mum a lot, and I'll get like an hour where he likes me, and then all of a sudden he doesn't like me anymore. Like we'll play.
It's tough.
And I'm having to be patient with knowing that it's just how kids grow and stuff like that. Yeah. It's hard because I'm very loving. I'm expressive. I tell him I love him all the time. That's just how I am.
You're like, what am I doing wrong?
And I'm like, yeah, what's going on here? So I'm having to work on patience, and also, like certain times when he's acting up or going through a toddler tantrum, and I'm like, he doesn't know what he's doing right now. He's trying to figure out his emotions. If you and I sit there and start screaming at each other, we're older and wise enough to know why we're screaming. He doesn't. He doesn't know what he's feeling. Mm-hmm. If he has a sore tooth, he doesn't know why his mouth hurts. Mm-hmm. So I'm having to practice and learn patience. I haven't really been patient like that. What am I unlearning? I don't know, man. Like that's a tricky one because I just feel like I don't know if I ever see anything as unlearning, right? You learn something and then the way you see it changes maybe. Just patience is a big one for me, and just trying to be kinder to myself in moments where like I don't feel like I'm always doing the right thing, like the whole training aspect. I'm trying to be kinder to myself where like if I missed a day of training before, it was the end of the world. Now I'm just kind of like, I'll pick it up tomorrow, or I'll go do something else, or I'll go for a run, or I'll take 20 minutes or do this, and I'm trying to be nicer to myself in that.
Is there anything that I'll give you some context here, like that made you really successful in the past, but now you have to so for example, and Ish could speak to this, and the rest, anybody that deals with me, unfortunately, has to deal with this, but I move really fast. As in physically, unfortunately, I don't move that fast anymore. I'm working on that right now, actually. But just in life.
You're gonna have to if you get up and down that mountain.
Yeah, I know. I move really fast, like in life. Like I can get bored. I get an idea, and I think that's a special superpower. It's like I get an idea, and then I can, like I'll tell them something, and the next thing we know, that's something that we execute 2 months from now. And whereas most people will take them a long time to, so I can move with speed.
Yeah, I feel that.
But it also drives people crazy, right? It drives me crazy. It drives my wife crazy. And I would say, like, even with that speed, I see a very high percentage of things that I want to do to fruition. Mm-hmm. Right? It's probably why, like, our gym is successful. Why I do consulting, all this other any project I work on, and I'm convinced that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It comes to fruition, and there's success in it.
Yeah, I get that. But I like that you see it and you apply something to do it. I'm like that, but I end up not knowing what I did and then realizing I have it.
Yeah, but my challenge now, what I'm unlearning now is I move so fast, and I've done that over the course of over a decade, that now I'm learning that success comes with moving slower. And it sounds like super like like woo-woo when I say that, but it's like, no.
Not necessarily slower, but with purpose.
Yeah, it's like, but I'll give myself, like now I'm like, oh, you know what? I should think about that more. Mm-hmm. Whereas before I'm like, no, we got to move on that. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I'm trying to unlearn because.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right, because that same speed now just burns people out. Mm-hmm. Whereas before it's like, no, that speed got us to where we are at today. Like, like we say this one a lot. It's like we have a full-time media, like we're a small 4,000 square foot facility gym where we've grown, like we have a full-time media person on our staff. Like,
it's awesome.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like we do things that are very unusual, like the way that we do things, but it's because of that speed. But now I'm like literally we have a staff summit coming up in 2 weeks. And last year I was crying. It's called Hot Seats. And I was crying. And some of the advice that this guy gave me right here was like, hey, you got to slow down. Mm-hmm. you know? So I'm trying to unlearn. Like, is there anything that you're trying to
Well, and I guess the
unlearn?
beauty in that is like if you're going too quickly, you won't see the things that actually have meaning and that will be better for you. You're jumping ahead. It's almost like the ladder, right? Like you're taking 2 steps instead of or taking 1 big step instead of taking 2 smaller steps, right? Sometimes that can happen. Again, still though, like for me, it's just hard to even when I think about what you're saying then, like I said, like there's moments where like I do that and I'm the same. I have all these goals and things that I want. And I tell you what I'm starting to realize. So there's all these things that I'm trying to chase and I always think it's not working out until it does. And then I look and I'm like, wait, I did everything that I said I was going to do.
Dude.
So maybe now I should just trust myself and trust the process.
So good.
Instead of living in this idea like like what I said to you earlier about I'm always doing jobs, right? And I'm always fixing stuff and I don't get to enjoy it. So now I would piggyback off that and say it's like time to enjoy the things just as much as you do them. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point in doing them anyway? Oh,
it's so good, bro. Talking about like lists. So I want to show you this. And I've never posted this anywhere. Never 3 friends have seen this.
So I'm in that category now.
You're in the category. We're not going to show this on the camera, but I'm gonna invite you to see this. So I wrote this. You're 33. Mm-hmm. I wrote this when I was. I wrote this in 2018.
Okay.
This is my top 50, the left side's 25. This is like my bucket list. It's like all these things I want to do, and you can just take a quick gander at it. But and I sent it to a friend. So I was an ambassador with like Lululemon for a little bit, for 4 years, and they took me to like this thing called like the bucket list life, and it was like super inspiring. I was like, okay, these are all the things I want to do. And then I was looking at it. I haven't looked at it in a long. I lost that photo. I don't even know what that journal is. And I looked at it, and it's like this is like I want to do this before I die. There's like 4 things on there that I haven't done yet.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Right? It's like, oh, like I bought that car. I'm saying this all out loud now, but it's like I gave away the year of the income. Mm-hmm. Like it's like I learned Spanish. I took 76 Spanish lessons in 2023. Like, and it's like I even forgot that I had that goal. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like I put learn Espanol. I can't say I'm fluent or anything like that. Create 10 jobs.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like I look at these. I still haven't flown first class anywhere. I haven't.
And a lot of these you probably ticked off with the same thing, though, right? Like, that's what's awesome about it.
And it's just like you look, and it's like to your point. It's like, oh,
but that's okay too.
Yeah.
Because now you got to level up. Level up.
Yeah.
Not with patience, level up with the idea that you have more time because you know what you're capable of. But you've proved to yourself what you're capable of, so you know that whatever task you put in front of you now you can do, so you get to dictate the time.
But isn't that wild that it's like sometimes you look at life and you're like, oh, we're here.
Yeah. And I think if a lot more of us did that and we look back and we appreciate, we'd be able to also move further because we'd be able to see the things that we're capable of. A lot of times people don't realize the things they're capable of because they don't recognize them.
Wow. We're rolling, bro.